Good afternoon, Chairman Hefner, Vice Chairman Lopez, and members of the committee. Thank you for the opportunity to testify. My name is Ammon Blair. I'm a senior fellow at the Texas Public Policy Foundation. I'm a former military, Army service member, as well as a Border Patrol agent. I have a little over 30 years in total federal service in both of those arenas. I did prepare something, but based off of the questions that were asked my colleague, Sam Westrop, before in terms of policy. Y'all asked about what current policies are there to address the situation that Sam Westrop in the previous panel talked about. One specific thing that I wanted to address was the angle list that he mentioned. And that is to create a list of individuals or organizations that may have ties to foreign adversary networks or foreign terrorist organizations or any of those hostile threats. Now, I would ask, how do we get that intel? Where does that intel come from? Where does the intel from the individuals that are tied to those organizations or the organization itself? And do the guys at the lowest level that are gaining that or trying to gather that intelligence, do they have the tools necessary? No. Representative Louderback mentioned in the previous panel addressed this very situation in terms of financial situations. Now, y'all may have heard of Palantir or Gotham, right? The technology to be able to map a threat, to link it together, and to form a great case in order for you to move forward and to investigate and adjudicate whether that is an individual or organization. Our law enforcement, they don't have that. So last panel, we talked about in terms of the Islamic threat. We also talked about the CCP. You know, we share 1,254 miles with Mexico. The cartels are still foreign terrorist organizations. Yet the state of Texas, our law enforcement, the Division of Homeland Security that was created by SB 36, still has not mapped that threat. I didn't mention this earlier, but myself and my colleague Celine Rodriguez are also consultants for the largest task force in the state of Texas, and that's Operation Lone Star Task Force, which now has 74 law enforcement agencies. We just signed on the Department of War as Sheriff Roy Boyd just met with the Department of War in Pete Hegseth's office because we were not getting the intelligence. The Homeland Security Task Force, if you go onto the DOJ's website currently as it stands, you'll see a lot of the material support, investigations, indictments on individuals and organizations that have recently happened in the past months. Well, what you're not being told is that a majority of the local law enforcement counties in a lot of the state are not even a part of that Homeland Security Task Force. They are being told that they are. However, if you remember, there is that Biden grant program where they were supposed to submit to try to get those grant dollars in order to help the Department of Homeland Security counter whether that's a threat or mass deportations. Within that, you had to show that you were actually part of the Homeland Security Task Force. Well, that's never been the case across any of one of our agencies, across our entire task force. And so you mentioned, Chairman, earlier about the federal government. The congressmen keep asking you, what is Texas going to do? Like, what are you guys doing? And so to let you all know what we are doing as a task force.
Well, it's more they're like telling us we need to do something, and I'm wondering what the heck they're doing.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. We were just with the Homeland Security Committee, myself and Sheriff Boyd, talking about what we're seeing currently on the southern border, what's currently happening, the smuggling tactics and techniques, what's currently happening with all the threats, whether that's CCP, Islamic organizations, as well as the cabotage operations. And they asked the same thing that the congressman asked. Well, what is Texas doing? I find it interesting that in order for us to continue to operate and to get intelligence to do this, we've been having to go out on our own as a task force and as a Texas Public Policy Foundation in terms of trying to establish policy. And that angle list itself that we talked about at TPPF that we're now also pushing forward as a legislation for next session. We actually, when I was listening to your guys' panel last session, I grabbed a portion of the research paper that Sam Westrop was talking about. So I'm the one that's going to be publishing this It's in terms of everything in terms of foreign terrorist organizations and what we must do and the policies therewith. And so you asked exactly what needs to happen, exactly what policies, what current statutes. You guys created a massive FTO package. What are those gaps? And I can give you this in draft form after this, and I can meet with each and every one of you in terms of these are the actual solutions in my hand of exactly, we broke down every single Texas statute in terms of how to address it. What are the current loopholes that, whether you're a cartel, whether you're an Islamic organization, whether you're the CCP, how are you going about that? And so I brought that here with me, and the angle list was just one of those. Another one is we did pass House Bill 45 last session, but it was very, very minute in terms of the ability that it could counter the current threat system. And so it really focused only on family law. And so we're looking at expanding that same thing and expanding it out. And Mr. Lucci also talked about a Nebraska bill. That same Nebraska bill could also be brought here into Texas, and we already broke that down as well in terms of our current statute and what needs to happen. My last remarks are this. The guys that need to get this done, your local law enforcement, your agencies that are having to target and go after the foreign terrorist organizations, whether that's at the border, your city, or your hometown, don't have the tools necessary to do it. And so no matter what legislation we pass, like the director for the Division of Homeland Security was here earlier and talking about the Texas Fusion Center. The majority of the intelligence that is coming to our agencies within our task force, 95% of it is not actionable. It is information talking about California wildfires, or it's talking about things that have no relation to anything operating within the state. And that is about 95%. The rest may be operational. So he said intelligence does matter. Intelligence should lead our operations. But I'm telling you from the guys on the ground, if I could be their voice here today, would be please share that intelligence. We're asking Texas DPS, we're asking the Texas Division of Homeland Security to share that information. We realize that there are certain stopgaps that the federal government is not allowing us to have. DPS is also facing that same situation in terms of trying to deal with mass deportations, such as not having the ability to have ident. When I was a Border Patrol agent, giving access to ident or ABIS so that they can identify who that individual is. Even if you sign a 287G task force model agreement, you don't have access to that. You still have to contact Border Patrol and you still have to contact ICE. And then depending on the agency, they may give you a different answer. And so not only can we try to fix this here at the state, we have the policies here to do so, regardless of who is going to be president next or who is currently president. We need to be able to operate as if we are on our own. And just as you, Chairman, said, they're asking us and they're asking you as if we are on our own already.